Welcome to Ghouls Night Out with your hostesses, Brandy and Jody.
Hello, beautiful ghouls. Welcome. This is Brandy. I'm here with my sister, Jody.
Hello.
Okay, so I have a really stupid joke.
Okay.
This is courtesy of Dad Jokes on TikTok.
Okay.
What did one Dorito farmer say to the other Dorito farmer?
I don't know.
Hey, Cool Ranch.
Oh my God.
I told you it was stupid.
First of all, there are no such things as Dorito farms.
What? Okay. Now I have some crazy things that people have seen while working in a drive-thru.
Oh gosh. Okay.
I was working at a Tim Hortons in Newfoundland when I was 15. A guy came up to the speaker box and ordered his coffee, and then I heard a weird noise that sounded like an elephant. He approached the window, and lo and behold, there was a baby elephant in the back of his pickup.
Oh, I want to see.
At the drive-thru on an island in Canada. I was so confused, I just didn't bring up the elephant in the room or pickup bed. Oh my gosh. That'd be so cute, though.
I know. I'd be like, oh my God, hold on.
I know.
And I'd run around.
I gotta pet the elephant. That's so cute. Could you imagine hearing an elephant over the speaker, though? Oh, gosh. Okay, when I worked at McDonald's, there was an off-duty cop in the drive-thru who stopped an attempted kidnapping. A man had left his kids in the car and gone inside to use the restroom. A stranger tried to pull the kids out of the car, but the cop watched it happen and stopped it.
Well, that's good. First of all, do not leave your children in a car by themselves.
No.
What the fuck?
I know. That'd be crazy to see, though.
Yeah, it would.
Especially at work. It'd be like the best day at work ever.
Yeah, it would.
Something exciting happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, someone once tried to order a raw hamburger patty. My coworkers and I couldn't figure out why they wanted a completely raw patty. Ultimately, my manager told them no because of a health code violation, and they drove off. Still cannot figure that one out.
First thing that pops into my head is they had an animal in the car.
Oh, maybe. I mean, they would have just said that, though, right? Be like, it's for my dog, dude. I don't know. That's weird. I used to work at Arby's when I was a teenager, and there was this family that would come in after church every Sunday, and they would order French fries for their kids, and they would ask us to cook them halfway. They wanted halfway cooked French fries for their kids, which we did a few weeks in a row until one of the kids threw them up everywhere, and then we were like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore.
Why would they want it done halfway?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just, that's gross. It was frozen potatoes. We had frozen potatoes that, you'd put in the grease and it would cook them, but they wanted them halfway done.
That's weird.
I know. Super weird. Anyway, one summer night, well after midnight, a car came into our drive-thru, closely followed by a cop car. We took the first car's order, but the cop car drove past without ordering. The first car got to the window, and before they could get their food, another cop car turned in and blocked them in, lights on. We could see clearly then that there was Coke everywhere, loose on the dashboard, in bags, everywhere. There were 3 guys in the car and a dog. The cops arrested the men and collected the evidence, but they couldn't take the dog or the car because of the dog. The car had to sit in our drive-thru until the Humane Society opened the next morning. Not the first time we had to block off our drive-thru, but definitely the most exciting. I had a minivan come in, and they had a pony in the back. They opened up the side door to show us.
Aw.
That's cute. I once got stuck on the roof of a McDonald's while still taking people's orders through the headset. I'd gone up to sort out a water boiler that had tripped out, but didn't realize how high up on the roof it was, so I couldn't get back down the ladder. I continued taking orders through the headset, despite having a full-on panic attack, tears, snot, fetal position, the works. A colleague had to come rescue me after I'd been stuck there for an hour.
Oh my gosh. That's called dedication, right?
Yeah,
there.
give that person a raise. I was working at a fast casual Italian restaurant, and a woman came through the drive-thru and paid with a handful of silver dollar coins from the early 1990s. My boss, a 17-year-old, didn't know what they were, so I traded him for regular dollar bills and walked off with a much better deal.
Okay.
When I worked at McDonald's in high school, we had a man pull up to the window after ordering just a large fry. Once I handed him his bag, he pulled a shoe from the passenger seat, poured the fries in the shoe, returned it to his foot, and drove away as if nothing was off about what he'd just done.
He had the shoe on with French fries in it?
He put the French fries in the shoe and then put the shoe on.
Okay.
Maybe they were too big.
All right.
What the fuck?
Some kind of fetish, maybe?
Maybe he ate the fries after he got home.
I don't know.
Okay. I don't know.
To each their own.
Yeah.
Whatever. He's not hurting nobody.
I guess. You eat your fries, man. I don't know. Okay. One time I witnessed a man run over a traffic cone we were using to block off part of the parking lot. Another coworker and I went out into the rain to help him get the cone out from under his car. We finally got it out and the man drove away, and we put the cone back where it belonged. 2 minutes later, the exact same man ran over the exact same cone again in the exact same place, made eye contact with me, shrugged, and this time kept driving, leaving the cone behind. What the fuck?
Oh my god. Why was he there again?
I don't know. I don't know. This is weird people. While I was working at McDonald's my sophomore year of high school, some lady went through the drive-thru at about 1 a.m. Someone accidentally gave her a large Diet Coke instead of a large Coke, so she threw the drink back through the window. The drink landed quite heavily in the fry oil and splashed all over one of our coworkers. The girl drove away pretty fast, but my manager got her license plate number off the cameras, and she was sued pretty bad.
Good. Bitch.
Yeah, I know, right? Have you seen the clip of that asshole throwing soup in the girl's face?
No.
Oh my God. I don't know where it was or like what restaurant it was, but there was this girl working there. This woman she said she called in first and was complaining about the soup that she had got that was too hot. And the soup had melted the lid on top of the container that they gave her. So there was melted plastic in her soup. So I understand that's frustrating, that sucks.
Yeah.
But she took it back, argued with her. That woman offered to give her a replacement, her money back, anything. She wouldn't take it, and then she threw the entire thing in the girl's face. Now, by the time she had done that, it was cool enough to where it didn't burn her, but still, she said like spices got up her nose and like in her eyes, and she got a nosebleed from it, and just a fucking asshole.
What the fuck?
People are fucking crazy. She just wanted to do that. Like she could have just gotten her money back or gotten a replacement, easy. But no, she wanted to be a fucking asshole. At least she got arrested for it though. Yeah. Let's see. I've had multiple people drive through in reverse. Kind of impressive, honestly.
Why?
People are crazy. I guarantee it's teenagers. Once when I was working the drive-thru at McDonald's, the girl in the passenger seat gave me a look to let me know she was interested. So I wrote my number on a napkin and put it in her bag. Fast forward about 3 weeks to New Year's Eve, and I get a call at 2:45 a.m. and the caller says to me, "If I find out you're giving your number out again, I'm going to break your fingers one by one." That was it.
What?
I'm assuming it was the girl that he hadn't heard from, but was crazy. I don't know.
Oh. Okay.
I was working at a drive-thru a drive-through teller window at a bank one day when a guy pulled up with a fully clothed blow-up doll in the passenger seat. She was all buckled up and everything. I looked at her and then at him, and he creepily said, "It's so I can use the carpool lane."
Sure it is, buddy.
Yeah, we've all heard that. Carpool. I worked at McDonald's for almost 2 years. The strangest incident would have to be the kid who attempted to pay me in Pokemon cards by explaining how much each was worth on eBay. When I explained to him that his cards could not be used as currency, he became upset, accused me of being a dirty Yu-Gi-Oh fan, and drove off, leaving me confused with both of his cards and his food. What the fuck?
Dirty Yu-Gi-Oh fan.
Holy shit. And I think this is my last one. I was working at the Starbucks drive-thru at 6 a.m. a few 420s ago. I don't know what that means. Maybe years? Mm-hmm. Two guys in their early 20s came by and got Frappuccinos. When they pulled up to the window to pay, I saw the passenger literally eating coleslaw out of a bucket.
Okay.
That was it.
Alrighty.
That's fucking weird.
All right. I did 20 people describe the horrible backstories behind houses up for sale.
Ooh, okay.
The lady next door to me passed away and wasn't found until she was more liquid than solid on her living room carpet.
Ooh.
The family couldn't pay back taxes or something, and the house went to HUD to auction. HUD paid for some cleanup, but not to replace the carpet, only to steam clean it.
Ooh.
So it finally sold, and I was talking to the guy who was flipping it. Before I could mention the passing, he asked if the house had a water leak under the foundation, because when they ripped up the carpet and pad to put down the laminate floor, it was really dirty and got all over them and their clothes. Told him what happened and how HUD went cheap on what to fix before the auction. He got green as a pea and started puking right there on his side of the fence.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, that was human juice on you. Sorry. Ew. I would have puked too.
Yeah.
Ugh.
An old friend of mine bought a nice house in a quiet neighborhood. The place is beautiful and has a really nice deck out back with a hot tub. About 3 weeks after closing, he was cleaning out some previously owner junk in one of the closets and found an old DVD. It was a Bridget the Midget porno with a hot tub scene on the cover. His hot tub. It was epic.
Ooh. I don't know how I would feel if I learned that porn was shot in my house. Oh, that'd be so... I'd be weirded out. I would. I just would.
I would be weirded out, but I would just clean everything really good.
Yeah, it wouldn't
and then
stop me. Yeah, it wouldn't stop me from living there or anything, but just to know.
Yeah. My grandma sells and rents houses in the Denver area. A few weeks ago, I had to help her evict a few college bros from one of the properties. This is a cottage-style home, no second floor, no basement. These guys literally dug a hole in the wood floor and made a basement where they've been throwing trash away for the past year.
Ew. What?
Like it's a living room with a TV, a couple of armchairs, and a giant hole in the ground filled with ice cream wrappers, pizza boxes, and cigarette butts.
Gross.
What the fuck?
Gross.
You don't do that to someone else's house.
What a bunch of assholes.
Yeah. And really, all the work that would take?
Yeah, like...
It's like, you can't just take out the trash?
That makes no sense at all. Oh my gosh. College boys, I guess.
My parents were realtors and also flipped houses. When I was growing up, I used to help them a lot, usually by cleaning. When I was 12, I was helping with a house that was infested with roaches. I noticed the closets were smeared with shit and children's handprints, with fingernail scratches on the insides of the doors as well. I asked my parents why this was the case. They told me the old tenants used to lock their toddlers in the closet for days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, these are making me feel much better about my life.
Yeah. So two years ago,
What?
2 years ago, my stepdad was charged with some child porn offenses.
Oh, no.
Not a great time. 0 out of 10 would recommend. More to the point of this story, flash forward to this October and the police contact my sister wanting to ask some questions. As it turns out, he had little creepy cameras all over the house and had been filming her since she was in grade 9 until she moved out. Needless to say, my mother is selling the house. I feel bad for the next people who buy and possibly come across something the cops missed.
Oh, my God. Creepy.
Could you imagine?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God.
No way.
Not a realtor, but I used to rent an apartment that was in a converted Victorian asylum. It was rumored to be haunted, but I never heard or saw anything whilst living there. When I met with a leasing agent to hand the keys back to the property and for him to run through a final inspection, he asked if we had been happy there. I said something to the effect of yes, but we were only moving as the landlord had it up for sale. It became clear he was after some kind of ghost story as he explained that none of his colleagues liked going to any apartments in the building because when taking photos, to market one of them, the red eye detector kept triggering on his phone when no one was in the frame.
Ew.
My God. The poor guy looked nervous as heck the whole time we were there.
That's kind of weird, though, that that person lived there and nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
But it could just be the person.
I think there are people that see stuff and there's people that don't.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think I'm one of those people that I don't see anything.
I think we're too close. Like, we don't want to see anything.
Yeah.
I just don't want to.
I don't want to either. I photograph homes. It's normal people die in homes. I photographed a few homes where the reason for sale was a recent suicide in the home. I photographed a new home that the builder took his own life in the garage just before the project was complete. The weirdest one was mostly very creepy and suspicious. I photographed a billionaire's compound where the guy had an absurd fascination with flesh.
Yeah.
There were well over 50 heads mounted on walls from water buffalo to elephant, 5 to 10 large cats stuffed, chandeliers made from the feathers of rare birds, stools made from elephant feet and legs, paintings and abstract photos of oily skin, veiny, muscles of humans and animals, etc. I looked for his kill room, but I never found it. In general, I found billionaires don't behave like normal people, but this one was particularly weird.
Holy shit. That is creepy.
Yeah, it is. When we were looking to buy a house, we looked at one in which the father of the family committed suicide in. You could tell which room it was because it had clearly recently been sheetrocked and painted. It didn't really bother us, though, as we didn't get any creepy feelings. We chose not to put an offer in because the rest of the house needed a lot of work. And no, the realtor did not tell us that someone had passed in it. I happened to know because it's very close to the house I grew up in, and it's a very small town. My aunt is a realtor and was selling a house that a lady owned, but had been renting out to her college-aged son and a few of his friends. When they went to do the first walkthrough so my aunt could take pictures and such, it was apparent the lady hadn't been in the house in ages. Every single room had a TV, a chair, a box of Kleenex, and a bottle of lotion. They were literally just jacking it with each other all over the house all the time.
Ew.
The lady was so embarrassed.
Ew, what?
I don't know why.
Ugh, people are gross.
I mean, I understand. It's a natural thing.
Sure.
But every room
To have its own little setup for you. That's
it's
fucking
just-
weird. That's fucking
it's
weird.
Whatever. When I was looking for my last house, I went with my wife and realtor to look at several houses. We went to look at one house in particular, but it didn't seem like the price they were asking for could be real. Huge house was sitting on tons of land with outbuildings going for millions under market value. We got there, and the realtor said, "Oh, I should mention a serial killer lived here, and when he was put away, cops found 11 bodies on the property."
Oh my God.
Oh,
I wonder if it was the Herb Baumeister house.
I don't know. Not a realtor, but when the sold sign went up on our last house, our neighbor came over and said, "Now you're moving out. Would you like to know about your house's history?" Turned out the previous owner was a heroin dealer who allowed his customers to shoot up in the living room.
Oh.
Explains the brown arcs all over the walls when we stripped the wallpaper. He also used to pimp his wife out from an upstairs room, our then bedroom. Lovely.
Oh my.
I failed to sell a townhouse built in the 1800s last year. 2 separate buyers said they could still feel the previous owners in the house, and that's what put them off making an offer. Spooky as both sets of buyers used the specific phrase that they feel whatever it is still present there. But seriously, I've been in 100 spooky houses with gruesome backstories and have only got the serious creeps in 2 or 3 over my whole career.
I wonder what that is. What is that creepy feeling?
I don't know.
Why do some people get it places and some people don't?
I don't know.
Weird.
I know. It's like, yeah, because some people can go somewhere and they feel something, whether it's a house or a building or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't ever feel anything when I walk in somewhere.
I have before, but not
I don't think I've ever.
not often.
My uncle bought a caravan down the coast on a well-known beach. Just prior to selling it, police detectives turned up and turned the place upside down and inside out looking for some sort of information. Turns out the family of one of Australia's most notorious serial killers used to own the caravan many years ago.
Ugh.
This happened to some friends who bought a property, a very old site, about 300 years old, which had been part of a convent. The aforementioned place had been refurbished as small apartments/houses about 50 years ago. They went to live there, and there was some maintenance given to certain parts of the property. There was a wall which was slightly wider than the others. They began to give maintenance to that wall, but the outer layer fell apart due to rain and age. While trying to fix it, they found dozens of skeletons of babies.
What?
Well, authorities and historians came and went, and they came to the conclusion that the nuns tossed their babies there right after giving birth to them. Lord knows if they were alive or dead by then.
Oh my God.
What the hell?
Wow.
First of all, why are nuns having babies?
I don't know.
No.
Well, that would make sense if they just like toss them away if they didn't want them, but Jesus. That's fucked up.
Property inspection turned up a body in the attic, a suicide where someone hung themselves. Homeowner thought her husband had left years ago.
Oh my God. I think we've done that before. But
That does sound really familiar.
so sad.
How could...
No, I remember us talking about this before
the
because we
attic.
were like,
Okay.
how in the world did she not smell it? And I was like, well, smelling gets worse as you get older.
Yeah.
And she just thought he left her. Oh my God, it's horrible.
So weird. Australian property manager here. I had taken a new property which had a bathroom vanity in each bedroom. I questioned the landlord to why the bedrooms required sinks. He informed me the house was previously a penis enlargement center, had a bunch of uni students move in and disclosed to them the reason. They thought it was a great story and lived happily in the penis center home.
That's funny.
I learned just how expensively... Oh my God. I'm too tired for this. I learned just how extensively the original builder had embezzled from the school district to build the house. People of a certain age would marvel at the fact that all the bricks, flooring, door and window frames, light fixtures, all kinds of elements were exactly 1920s public school construction. Turns out the builder was the school superintendent and deliberately built the house with diverted materials and labor from a school project. He was caught and publicly shamed for it.
Oh, okay.
I guess he was using stuff that wasn't up to code or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, probably.
I went with a friend of mine to view commercial properties for a startup computer business. There was one in particular that he was very excited to see, as the setup sounded just perfect. It had a large front room for seating customers and displays. It was in a strip mall with several other businesses, and it had 2 back rooms, one he could use for stock, one he could use for doing repairs. It also had its own portion of the basement for additional stock or whatever he might need it for. We hadn't been in the door more than 30 seconds, and the realtor started telling us how it was a combo nail salon massage parlor before it was seized and her company bought it. Yeah, the massage parlor and seized. You know where this is going. The 2 back rooms still had the mattresses on the floor, and there were about 8 more mattresses and lots of women's clothing scattered around the basement. He didn't take the property, even though I told him he should have. The look on the faces of old clients that came in still expecting the brothel to be there would have been priceless. Not a realtor, have taken the course twice, just never took the test. But I've been in the residential property management industry for 14 years and have managed thousands of apartments and single-family houses. An historical building I used to lease apartments for was formerly an insane asylum, and prior to that was a hospital. The building itself is on the National History Registry. Thankfully, I never had a bad experience here, except for one unsettling thing in a stairwell, but I did meet people over the years with stories. Anyway, certain things are required for historical landmarks and restoration tax credits in this particular city. So in many of the apartments had to maintain certain features of the original design and architecture. Like some old tile was still on the walls and floors. The thing that creeped me out was the basement. Even after 50 plus years, on most days you could catch a whiff of formaldehyde. Some days there were pungent and distinct than others. Of course, being the basement, it also had the addition of that musty basement smell. Since this was once a hospital, obviously it had a morgue. There are a handful of apartments in the basement, and the original tile on the floor marked where the morgue actually started. In one of those apartments, there was a bedroom with incredibly spacious walk-in closets. If you haven't already figured it out, these 2 massive closets are the old body lockers
Oh my God.
with their original latches on the walls next to the entrance to the closets. I still, for the life of me, cannot understand how anyone could live in that apartment, because I wouldn't even go into that apartment by myself.
I wouldn't be able to do it.
I don't know. I don't think it would bother me.
Having a morgue for a closet? Oh my God.
I
No
don't
way.
know.
I couldn't do it. No.
If it was like cleaned really good.
No.
I don't know. I don't know.
Creepy. Okay, I have some glitch in the Matrix stories. First one, every night I go to bed about 2 hours before my husband. I always wake up when he comes into the room. One night he was gaming with a friend, and it was hours later I heard him sneak into the room and crawl across the floor so he could pop up and scare me. I felt the floor kind of shake and felt him bump clumsily against the side of the bed in the dark. I held out my hand and asked him not to scare me. I was already scared enough and begged him just to take my hand and come to bed. I couldn't see anything in the room, but knew he was there and just waited for him to jump up so I could move on and go to sleep. That's when I heard him talking to his friend in the other room. I was frozen. I know there's sleep paralysis or lucid dreaming or something that explains this, but I would have sworn on my son's life that someone crawled across the floor and jostled the bed. Eventually, I worked out of the fear enough to grab my phone and text my husband to come in and turn on the lights and check under the bed. But holy shit, it boggles me how real it felt.
I don't know if I would call that a glitch in the Matrix.
That seems like a ghost or creepy.
Yeah,
something.
that's something creepy.
I was on vacation in Florida visiting a friend. We were walking on the beach on a perfectly sunny day when everything went black for a second. I think it was weird, but I explained it away, thinking that my eyes were playing tricks on me, until he looked at me and said, "Did everything go black for a second?"
Ooh, that's weird.
It is weird.
That's really weird.
Now, that validation of someone else seeing that.
Yeah, and that right there makes you think something's wrong.
Yeah. Or
That's
like they
just-
quickly walked through another something or
Yeah, or I don't know, but
yeah.
the sun don't just blink off.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a bad light bulb or something,
Yeah.
It's like,
That's crazy.
it's weird.
About 2 years ago, I went to collect my husband from the ferry after work. My husband got into the car, and as I was driving very slowly out of the car park, we both noticed two people standing a few meters in front of our car. It looked as though they were strangers, older-looking professionals, both walking to their separate cars in different areas of the car park. The man was reaching into his side bag, and the lady was farther ahead than the man, with her head turned to the right. I know the exact positions they were in because they were completely frozen on the spot. My husband and I sat there watching the frozen strangers, not saying anything to each other, and then all of a sudden it was like someone pressed play and the two strangers just continued on like nothing had happened. My husband and I promised each other that we would never forget how weird the experience was. I can't remember exactly how long they stayed frozen like that, but it was long enough to freak us both out.
How could they ever forget that?
I know.
I don't think they need to tell each other not to forget.
Well, they're probably like, we've got to remember this. Like, yeah, I mean, you forget about stuff, sometimes. And you just go on with your life because what the fuck was that?
That is so weird.
In October 2018, I developed tendinitis in my hand, so I went to see my hand specialist at my regular hospital. I remember the hand specialist really clearly. She was a really happy, talkative Vietnamese woman with straight, dark brown hair and glasses. She had a German-sounding last name, which I assumed was her married name. She was really nice, and we had a long conversation about a medical conference that she goes to. She explained that my hand issues, caused by phone usage, were the hot topic of the conference and that she'd probably use my injury as an example when she goes there. She gave me care instructions and sent me home. I was told to return if it didn't resolve in the next few weeks because then I'd need to be re-examined and sent to physical therapy. It didn't resolve and I went back. I had an appointment with the same doctor, but the woman who came into the room was completely different. She was a white woman with light brown hair, no glasses, completely different face shape, really dull and unwelcoming disposition. I was so fucking confused. I asked her name and she gave me the same name the Asian doctor had. I asked if there was another doctor by that name and she told me no, it was only her. I described the doctor I had seen and she got annoyed and said she didn't know who I was talking about. I later went online to the hospital staff directory and tried to find the Asian doctor, but I couldn't. I have no idea what happened to her. I even checked my medical records to see if maybe I remembered her name incorrectly, but I didn't. Both of my visits have the same doctor's name on them. I've always been confused about this, and it really bothers me that I met someone who doesn't seem to exist anymore.
That's weird.
It's weird. Next one, in 1985, my ex-wife and I were sleeping. There was a small sliver of light coming in through the window from the street light, so the room and bed were dimly visible. Our black Pomeranian was at the end of the bed asleep. I dreamt that I woke up, reached down to pet him, and he turned into this glossy black oyster thing, which opened up to reveal rows of gleaming glass teeth. I woke up to my ex backpedaling up the bed over the pillows toward the wall. I asked what's wrong, and she said, "What is that slimy black clam thing with the teeth at the end of the bed, and where's the dog?" We had the exact same nightmare at the same time. Still gives me chills. Next one, a total of 3 minutes in my life, I have memories of seeing movies or movie trailers that hadn't been made yet. It's not even a feeling of deja vu, it's a clear, vivid memory of seeing the movie before. I was taking the train home one afternoon, and an old man was sitting in the row ahead of me. He turned around and asked for directions to the hospital, and I told him which stop to get off at. Eventually, his stop arrives, and he gets up to leave, but before he exits, he turned and said, "Thank you, I'll see you later." I said, "Yeah, no problem," and again he said, "I'll see you later," and looked me right in the eye. I said, "Sure, see ya," and he got off the train and hobbled away with his cane. Thought it was a little weird. He was adamant about seeing me around, but whatever. Freaky thing is, when I got off the train and to the bus station about 5 minutes after boarding my bus, I hear a voice that sounds like the old man. I looked out the bus window, and sure enough, he was there at the bus station. Same clothes, hat, and cane. I know it was the same guy, but with his walking speed and the available bus and train routes at the time, I have zero clue how he got to that train or to the bus station right when I did. There were no buses near the hospital that go to that bus station, and my train was the only train that had just arrived. What the fuck? Next one, I had a dream about a coworker. She loved dogs and would always ask me to share pictures of my GSD and Labrador. GSD.
German Shepherd?
I was thinking Great Dane. Well, I don't know. Whenever we'd talk at work. In the dream, she was on a couch crying. My Labrador is a very emotional, connected dog. She goes to anyone she thinks is sad, which is exactly what she did in the dream. My coworker looked at me and said, "Thank you for sharing her. I feel better about all of this now." I found out at work the next day that my coworker had tripped at the top of her stairs and died that night. The dream still freaks me out when I think about it. It was so vivid and clear.
That's weird.
In 2010, I was working for a transportation company as a dispatcher, and I walked out to go home one afternoon, and my foot went through the paved parking lot. After I took another step, I looked all over, and it was solid, but it was a weird random thing that I'll never forget. Weird.
That is weird. Like it's not real.
This happened when I was 8 and working in the yard with my mom. My mother and I were doing some spring planting in the flower beds around the house. I went inside for a pee break, and on my way to the bathroom, I had to walk through the living room. I entered the living room through the kitchen, looked up, and on the other side of the living room, I saw sitting on the couch none other than my sister. She was wearing her school uniform and was looking towards me, but not at me. Never said a word. Nothing really unusual, right? What makes this a glitch is my sister was hundreds of miles away at boarding school, not helping us plant flowers, and certainly not sitting at the edge of the couch giving me a blank stare. My little 8-year-old self reversed course and locked himself in the half bath until he regained the courage to go back through the house and finish planting hostas. Every time I randomly think about the movie Groundhog Day, I see it everywhere. People mention it to me. It's on TV, the radio. I can't escape it. It's funny. That's so good. That's such a good movie.
Yeah, I don't even know how many times I saw that movie.
Oh, I've seen it a billion times. It's a good one. And this one kind of, I think it might go with the last one. It says, reminds me of a weekend vacation my friends took where we kept hearing the song House of the Rising Sun to the point where we started to notice it. The last night we were there, we were watching TV in the hotel room when an episode of Supernatural came on. There was the song that precedes bad things happening. We were all a bit stoned, so it freaked us out. We were freaked out again when we heard it on the drive home. That's kind of weird. When I was a little kid, around 6 or 7, my family got a pet hamster. I remember the first day we got him, I played with him, went upstairs for bed, fell asleep, woke up, came back downstairs, and he was dead. I was really sad about the pet we had just gotten, that he was dead, and my parents informed me that we had him for a year before he died. I literally have no recollection of that entire year. I just remember getting a hamster, falling asleep, miss a year of my life, wake up, and the hamster's dead. It's trippy thinking about it.
What?
What? So did they time travel, or were the parents crazy?
I don't know. That's weird.
I'd be like, well, how old am I? What is happening? One night, my dad was tucking me in when I was 8 years old. He said goodnight, and I replied goodbye. He asked me why I said bye, and we laughed it off. It was just an accident. The next morning, my brother found him passed in the living room. He had a heart attack in the middle of the night at age 48. I had a bonfire at my family member's home. They put a sheet of metal on a concrete slab, then built the bonfire on top. No one thought about what happens when you make a hot spot in the middle of a frozen concrete slab. The concrete expands with nowhere else to go, so it literally explodes. I was the closest to the fire when it exploded. I had enough time to check where the debris was going to see that I wasn't going to be hit, look over at my mother and think I should move away so she doesn't freak out. So then I calmly stood up and backed away from the fire while laying down on the chair I was sitting in so it would fit between my legs while I stepped backwards. At least that's what I thought. My cousin came up to me after and said he'd never seen anyone move as fast as I did.
Ooh,
That's creepy.
that gave me chills.
Yeah. This will be my last one. When my mom called to tell me my grandpa died, I thought she said Papa died. And Papa is the nickname for my dad. I was crying uncontrollably, and when I finally figured out it was my grandpa, I was too embarrassed to admit that I thought it was my dad. I called him later and told him, and he just laughed. Fast forward 3 weeks, and my dad died too. Part of me thinks mishearing her was the universe preparing me to lose him. It was weird because it was like I lost him twice, and I'm still kind of waiting for someone to tell me it was all a mistake, and it actually was someone else. Edit, I feel kind of bad because I barely thought about my grandpa since my dad died. My grandma has it the worst because she lost a husband and a son in the same month.
Oh, that's sad.
I'm going to read one more because that was sad.
Okay.
Sometimes when I dream and I wake up. I know it's a dream. I just know it's a dream, but I can't wake up. And the harder I try to wake up, the more I realize I have to wake up. The scarier it gets, even though nothing really changes. It feels like a darkness enveloping you as you try to wake up from your fake room. How do I know it's a fake room? Just some weird details, like my walls look a little too white, or the Christmas tree's lights are on when they're supposed to be off. So then I go through like maybe 1 to 2 minutes of intense waking up, falling back asleep, trying to open my eyes, then falling back asleep right after. As I said, the rooms are similar but not too similar, so I can just about tell where I am in the real world when I'm dreaming. Or perhaps both rooms are fake, and when I finally wake up, it's the real me in the real world. I don't know. Those are the scariest of the dreams, even though they last for a few minutes tops, because that's right before I'm about to wake up. Did that make any sense to you?
Not really, no.
I'll read one more. I was on holiday with my family and had an intense dream about our home being broken into. When we got home, the place was trashed, just like I had dreamt. My parents remember me telling them about the dream when I woke up, too, so I didn't imagine it. Okay, that was mine. I feel like I said dream 40 billion times.
That's funny. All right, it's time for the witty wrap up. I need my glasses for. All right. Dang, it's still hard to read. Before I became a parent, I never thought I would break up a fight at a living room guinea pig fashion show. Yet here we are.
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
7-year-old calls Pepto-Bismol Dismal, and that is how I will refer to it from now on.
Absolutely. That's why a calculator is a conculator to me.
My toddler's new thing to say is mama on repeat for 20 minutes straight, and I'm not supposed to respond, unless, of course, I am supposed to respond, in case any of you were thinking of skipping the birth control. Parenting books should be legally required to display the number of children the author has.
Oh, absolutely. I love that one.
Mommy blogs be like, how to make your Thanksgiving stress-free with 300 tasks you should do in the next 30 minutes. Almost time to put up the Christmas lights, or as my kids call it, swear day. My 4-year-old, realizing that I gave her her vitamin gummies this morning, and that her mom gave her her vitamin gummies this morning also, and pacing around worried that she's going to OD.
Oh, that's cute.
How does a 4-year-old know what ODing is?
Oh, who knows, man?
My 4-year-old, Daddy, I thought Santa gave birth to Jesus. Husband, no one really knows for sure. Me.
Oh my god. Oh.
Since I refuse, 5-year-old was wondering if anyone would like to play hammers with her. She has a hammer and you run. So anyway, let me know.
That does not sound like a very fun game.
No, it does not.
Not for us, anyway. I'm sure it's very fun for her.
People who don't blur their backgrounds on video calls are just bragging that they don't have kids.
Motherfuckers.
4-year-old, let's hunt turkeys, Daddy. Me, how do we do that? 4-year-old, put a big sign that says, come here, turkeys. I might be raising Elmer Fudd.
What are you talking about? That's brilliant.
My Fair Lady, but Eliza Doolittle is my 7-year-old, and instead of the loud Cockney accent, I'm trying to coach away a tendency to fart as a greeting to strangers. No one, absolutely no one, my 8-year-old, I hate lasagna. If someone ever brought me one when I'm old, I'd make my wife eat it.
What the fuck?
3.5-year-old, 2 hours after bedtime. Mommy! Me, what's wrong? 3.5-year-old, what animals don't have teeth?
Oh my gosh.
Tell your teenagers to clean them out of their room now so you will have enough cups and dishes for Thanksgiving.
That's true.
My kids have been asking for a baby brother or sister, and today a little miracle arrived. No, I think there was supposed to be a picture with that one.
Oh.
Never mind. If you'd all take a moment to imagine living with a 10-year-old who talks all day in the voice of a flight attendant after a weekend away.
Oh my gosh, what? What?
They're talking like a flight attendant.
Why? Kids are weird.
Yes, they are. My favorite part of parenting right now is that my 4-year-old keeps making plans to go to his friend's house after school but doesn't tell us, his parents, or even his friend, and then loses his mind when it doesn't actually happen. What's yours? And my last one. When my son was born, I knew that I would love him forever with a slight break between 12 and 21.
Slight break. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. All right, thank you guys so much for listening. Send in your stories. We still need them. goalsnightoutpodcast@gmail.com. You can rate, review, subscribe wherever you listen. You can look us up on Facebook, request to join the group, and we'll talk to you next week.
Later.
Bye.